Good evening, President, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. Welcome to the 202nd meeting of the ICG Toastmasters Club. I'm Stuti Gaitonde, and today's meeting is going to be one fun-filled excursion. I shall begin by reading the mission statement of our club. The mission of a Toastmasters Club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I would also like to mention the ground rules that we will be following during this meeting. Kindly ensure that your cell phones are switched off. In case you've logged in from your cell phone, do ensure that it is on silent mode. Kindly mute yourself once you've finished speaking. Please ensure that you are in an area with less noise and less disturbance and one with good internet connectivity. If you suddenly find yourself logged out during the meeting, do rejoin. Now, as you all know, we've just begun a brand new Toastmasters term. And with that, I've decided to bring a brand new segment, the fact of the day. Did you know the likelihood that a person cries when watching a movie on an airplane is 15% higher than when watching a movie on the ground? With this, we are now ready to begin. Fasten your seatbelts, sit back and relax as I hand over to the president of our club. Besides being outgoing, warm, energetic, and super sweet, he's also responsible for introducing me to Smokin' Joe's Pizza at our XCOM meeting. It's now become a family favorite in our entire household. Over to you, Toastmaster Sir Torio.
Thank you, Stuti. And to tell you a fact that at 15% is 100% for me. I cry every time. Okay, welcome everybody to ICG Toastmasters Club. For the benefit of the guest, Toastmasters is a non-profit organization which helps people in their leadership and public speaking skills. For the benefit of our guests who have come first time, the agenda of the meeting is in the chat box. Zoom Master, can you please put the agenda of the meeting?
It's put already.
Yeah. And also please do fill up a guest form. We would want to be in touch with you. Now, let's hear from a few guests out there. Nadia, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello. I'm Nadia.
Yeah, you can turn on your camera. We are quite friendly.
Some of us.
Okay. I can see one more Toastmaster Aarti, a guest. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Janani. I'm Toastmaster Aarti's sister-in-law. So I'm from Mumbai and I'm right now in Goa. So she insisted that I should join, and it seemed pretty interesting. So I thought I'll just join this session and see what it's all about. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, thanks a lot for joining in.
Thank you.
We have Ishan, a regular guest. Ishan, can you introduce yourself? Okay, you're shy as always. Is there any other guest in the room?
Okay, is not speaking.
No.
Shivani.
She's the Toastmaster.
Shivani is the VP Education of the Vasco Toastmasters Club. Can you please?
Hi. Yes, hi. Hi everyone, I'm Shivani Kenny. I'm from Moscow Toastmasters Club. I have heard a lot about ICG meetings, so I thought for the first time I'll give it a try and see what goes around and how it is. So that's why I'm here today.
Okay, thank you, Shivani. Since we are done with the guest, let us get straight to business and let us be ready to board the flight. Our Toastmaster of the day has come all the way from Kathmandu, Nepal, and she has landed into the hearts of every ICG member. And this is one airport she is not allowed to leave because Toastmaster Aditi, no matter what, you will always remain the first international member of ICG Toastmasters Club. Toastmaster Aditi is very fashionable, she's gorgeous, she's smart. Presenting the Princess of Nepal, Toastmaster Aditi. Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you, Toastmaster. We all have once been the tiny little kid pointing at the aeroplane flying above and getting all eager to fly and wondering how it feels like to be up there. Maybe it feels like a superhero. And then when we first boarded a flight, we had goosebumps all over, showing our nervousness and excitement. Boarding a flight is one of the most unique experiences as we get to fly even though we don't have wings. Remember the days we used to travel? More than anything, there used to be the excitement of reaching the destination. And somewhere we forgot to leave the journey. When I think about it now, I feel I shouldn't have slept the entire flight. Little did I know this was the last flight I'm going to board for the next 2 to 3 years. Perhaps we all should have focused more on the flying experience than taking it for granted. I'm sure all of us here today miss flying. The pandemic seems like to have paused traveling, but worry not, as we all are here today to experience a new way of excursion. Even though we are not in an actual flight, this is definitely going to be a flight to remember. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests. This is your captain, the Toastmaster of the day, Aditi speaking. I welcome you all on board ICG 202. The weather today looks good and filled with excitement for a great flight. Our travel duration is going to be of 2 hours. In case if you face any turbulence that could be due to unstable network connection, I request you to join back immediately. Like a typical Toastmaster meeting, which is divided into 3 sections: prepared speeches, table topics, and evaluation. Our journey today is also divided into 3 sections, that is, takeoff, on air, and landing. Prepared speeches is like the takeoff, where you prepare yourself for the journey. You are nervous to be on the air, but at the same time, you're excited. That is exactly the feeling of our speakers today, who have prepared the speeches thoroughly, giving a smooth takeoff to this meeting. Table topic is like being on air, where you might face turbulence, which is like fumbling when you are chosen by the table topic master, but at the same time, you can enjoy the mesmerizing view outside your window because you know at the end it's worth it all. The general evaluation section is like landing. You are scared and you hold your seat tight as the plane touches the ground. That's the kind of feeling you get when you're about to get evaluated. And once the evaluation is done, you find peace. That is just like reaching your destination. Moving on. Cabin crew members in a flight who are important for a perfect journey are like role players in the Toastmaster meeting. And now I would like to introduce my crew members. My first crew member today is Toastmaster Aman, who is playing the role of grammarian. He describes himself as the passenger who is always excited, so excited to board a flight that he does not get sleep the entire night, and hence that night feels the longest to him. Toastmaster Aman, please explain your role as grammarian for today.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Good evening. Me, your plane driver. Me taking plane to Maldives and we go down to Maldives. But before we go to Maldives, we all will pass away at the sea. That's it. I'll grab my bag, get down of the plane and cancel my trip to Maldives. After hearing the pilot say, we all will pass away at the sea. Because I had planned a trip to Maldives and not to heaven. Good evening, respected Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmaster and guests. My name is Aman and I am your grammarian for today. As a grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to each speaker, listening carefully to their language. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, sayings, thoughts. It is also my duty to introduce the word of the day, which is excursion. Excursion, it means a short journey or trip, especially taken as a leisure activity or a deviation from a regular activity or course. An example of the word excursion is I went with my classmates for an excursion on the beach. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. At the end of the meeting, I will be back with my grammarian reports and also report on the word usage. I hope you all enjoy today's excursion. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aman. My second crew member today is Toastmaster Aarti, who is playing the role of a timer. She describes herself as an easy-to-handle passenger. During her flight journey, she likes to look out of the window, fly over the clouds, and munch on the snacks and wonder what's happening down there. Toastmaster Aarti, please explain your role as timer for today.
Toastmaster Aarti, you're on mute.
You can repeat the act.
Hashtag new excursion. Hashtag a flight to remember. Right now, I need a 6 months vacation twice a year. Good evening, Toastmasters of the day, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Welcome aboard to this splendid flight where we create saccharine memories and cherished experiences. It's almost mind-boggling how time flies when we're having fun. And as we set off to take this flight to remember, I'm pretty sure we may lose track of time. But don't you all worry. I, as the timer for today's flight, will keep track of time and ensure we don't hover around and delay. I will time the prepared speeches, the table topics, and the evaluation. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote specific times remaining. I shall just share the screen in order to show the card. The green card, the yellow, and the red. Time allotted for the prepared speech is 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 6 minutes, the yellow. And at 7 minutes, the red card. The table topic speakers should limit their speech to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute again, I shall raise the green card. 1 minute, 30 seconds, the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, the red card. The evaluation should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green card again. At 2 minutes, 30 seconds, the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, the red card. A grace period of 30 seconds will be allotted to the speaker in each of the sections. I will go on with my timer's report at the end of the meeting when I am called upon by the general evaluator. So fasten your seat belts, everyone. Let's get set to take off. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aarti. My third crew member is Toastmaster Lloyd, who is playing the role of accounter. He describes himself as a social flyer. For him, flight can be boring alone, but with a bunch of lively friends, it's nothing less than an amazing clubhouse party. Toastmaster Lloyd, please explain your role as the accounter for today.
Is this a Hindi lesson for all the Toastmasters today? Most definitely not. We are actually on board flight ICG 202 for a beautiful evening excursion with our captain Aditi on board. Good evening, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and our loving guest. Do you know that you can actually undo a speech with filler words such as as well as repeating certain words and phrases? We have all probably been there, haven't we, and done this at some point of time. But no matter how prepared you are with that presentation or researched that topic, as soon as you let these filler words creep into your speech, the perception of you lacking authority becomes a reality. I have been told that the average person uses 2 filler words for every 100 words spoken. Listen to me very carefully. I said average person. Here at ICG Toastmasters, we are extraordinary. That is exactly why the R counter comes into play. I will be looking for sounds like as you speak. I will also be noting words that are repeated or phrases that are repeated, and I shall submit this report at the end of our travel journey just before checkout. So be alert, enjoy your flight while I am watching. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I would now request all passengers to buckle up their seatbelts, and my fellow co-pilots and crew members, please prepare as ICG 202 is ready for takeoff and start our prepared speeches section. Our first speaker for the day is Toastmaster Neeru. All the speakers were asked a common question, which was about the most memorable flight experience. And for Toastmaster Neeru, that was the very first time. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, you are.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. For Toastmaster Neeru, that was the very first time she flew, and it was a small 6-seater chopper from Shimla to Manali, flying over the Shilvalik range of Himalayas. This is one experience she is going to remember throughout her life. May I now call upon her evaluator, Toastmaster Gajanan, to read out the objectives of her speech.
Toastmaster Neeru, last time I saw you giving a speech when you came with the attire of Captain Khera. But that was long time ago. And as they say, every great story begins with the sentence long time ago. And today you are starting your new story with a very interesting project, identifying your leadership style. There are 2 purposes of your project. First one is to identify your primary leadership style. And second one is to share some aspect of your primary leadership style. It's your level 2, project 1 of innovative planning. Your timing is 5 to 7 minutes. Neeru, and over to you, Toastmaster Aditi.
Toastmaster Neeru's topic is Understanding the Leader in Me. Understanding the Leader in Me. Toastmaster Neeru.
May 2018, I entered the ICG club and immediately decided to join the club with a strong determination to work on my communication style. 2019, I am enjoying this journey
engrossed in giving speeches from my CC manual and pathway projects, learning and improving every time through the evaluation I received. March 2020, the pandemic struck. And due to the social distance norm, we had to start our meetings online. Now, me being an old school, it took me some time to get adjusted to this Zoom way of communication. And by the time I got accustomed to it and thought of giving my next speech, which happened to be, you've heard my evaluator saying, understanding my leadership style. It was time for me to become a leader because I was elected as the president of ICG Toastmasters Club. I believe that if you really want to do something, you have to first understand it. So for me, it was essential to understand the leader in me. Till that time, I used to think that for a person to be a leader, the only criteria is the person should be confident. But when I started reading about this project, Understanding Your Leadership Style, I understood that it is not only the confidence. There are many other factors, like your attitude, your reactions, which determine what kind of leader you are. Actually, in this project, there is a questionnaire which has around 50 questions, mostly the situational kind of questions. And through our responses to those questions, we are given a report card with marks in 8 different kind of leadership styles. I scored the maximum in affiliative kind and minimum in pace setting kind of leadership. I started studying about all these leadership styles. And I realized that they all are different. All these leadership styles have their pros and cons. So that means leadership is not something one size fits all. And there is no one best kind of leadership. So what I had to do is to understand it. I understood that for a leader to be successful, it depends that how a leader can get accustomed to all these different styles of leadership and how he or she adapts to these situations and applies the type of leadership required for a particular situation. So through my learning, I realized that I could use all this in me being the president. My team had many different kind of people, from much experienced Toastmasters to relatively new Toastmasters. My usual kind of leadership style was altruistic style, which involves active listening, empathy, and showing confidence in each and every team member. And because I showed confidence in each and every team member, all the team members took ownership of their roles and regulations. And thus, the functioning of our club was as though on autopilot. But wherever the person had to do something beyond their role, this altruistic style did not work. We all had to work together, so I opted for affiliative type of leadership, which says teamwork and harmony. This was quite effective when we all worked together. But because there was a difference of opinion because of the experiences, sometimes it became difficult for me to decline ideas or to give a negative feedback. So if the situation was where I had to pick up the ideas and choose among them, I opted for democratic kind of leadership, where ideas from all the people are taken, but the decision is made on consensus. So the idea with majority wins. This style had one negative, that it could be demotivating for the person whose idea is not accepted. In that case, I had to go back to my altruistic style, pampering, empathy, listening to them, adding on to their confidence. Out of all the styles, my favorite happens to be coaching style, because I learned a lot through the experienced members. And frankly speaking, I also did my share of mentoring by sharing my personal experiences with new members. But this style also does not work if the person you are trying to mentor is not ready to change. So this way, I try to apply the various leadership styles. And the two leadership styles which did not work very well for me, and maybe in future I would not like to adapt to them, are bureaucratic and authoritative, because I did not get good responses through that. And two areas where I had actually scored a minimum, I would like to stress more on. One is innovative kind, because it helped me to invite new out-of-box ideas, and it really helped my club. And the pace setting style, where actually I lead the club as an example. So my dear Toastmasters and esteemed guests, this was my study of my leadership style. And this is how I apply the various leadership styles. Now, what about all you out there? Don't you want to understand that leader in you? Now, don't say that you cannot be a leader. Because if your actions can inspire others to do more, to learn more, and to be more, you are a leader. Now, the only thing left there is to understand that leader in you. So go ahead and understand that leader in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Neeru, for that wonderful speech. We will now have a minute's silence where all members and guests may give their individual feedback to the speaker privately on the chat box. We now move on to the next speaker, Toastmaster Vishwesh. His most memorable flight experience is when the air hostess taught him how chewing on candies keeps away the pain, as airplanes always had him crying. He hated the air trauma he got in the air. But since then, he has loved every flight for the candies and for the air hostess. May I now call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Sharmila, to read out the objective of his speech.
Thank you, TMOD Aditi. Good evening, all of you, and especially to my speaker, Toastmaster Vishwesh. I'm really looking forward to doing this evaluation. I'm not too sure whether you are looking forward to you, because having your old teacher coming back to you, evaluating your speech might sound very traumatic, but I'm going to enjoy doing this. Toastmaster Vishwesh, the purpose of your speech is for you to learn or review basic research methods and to present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic of your choice. Toastmaster Vishwesh is doing his level 1, project 3, and his speech title is the 80-20 principle. Looking forward to listening to you. Over to you, TMOD Aditi.
Toastmaster Vishwesh topic is the 80-20 principle. The 80-20 principle. Toastmaster Vishwesh.
Would someone allow me to share screen, please?
Yeah, I'll just make you the post. Yeah.
Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
If at any point in life you have given all of your effort towards something and yet not received what you were expecting, then this presentation is for you. A very good evening, my dear Toastmasters and guests. Join me today as I present to you my study on the 80-20 principle. To all you parents who are telling us to groom well, the key to success and fame is to have a majestic beard like this man up here. That, my dear Toastmasters, is Vilfredo Pareto, a renowned Italian economist who observed that 80% of Italy's wealth and property belong to just 20% of its population. Now, grandpa down here is Joseph Juran, an American consultant. This man observed and researched on Pareto's observation. He later developed and realized that it wasn't just related to the country's economy, but this principle could be utilized in our day-to-day lives. He developed the 80-20 principle and named it after Pareto, hence the Pareto principle. Ma'am Sharmila, there has to be a chart somewhere in school which looks like this. We're always taught the more the effort, the more the success. Well, the 80-20 principle speaks exactly the opposite. It tells us that 80% of your outcomes or 80% of your output is dependent on just 20% of your inputs. Now, Juran, our consultant from the previous slide, had a famous quote. It said, the vital few and the trivial many. What he basically meant by this statement was that there are only a few factors which are most critical in any task. This principle initially came about as a management theory, but today it can be used in business, studies, or our social lives as well. Let me give you a few examples. The Arizona State University put out a report stating that 50% of the crimes in the region were caused by just 5% of the offenders. The Economic Times published a report which said the wealth of India's richest 1% population was more than the total 70% population of the poor in the country. Now, for all you girls out there who keep saying, I don't have clothes to wear only, I think I know what's troubling you. And guys, y'all can thank me later for this one. Fashion magazine, The Cut, says you only wear 20% of your wardrobe. I was never the nerd in school. In engineering though, I had a roommate who studied so much, the chair looked like his buttock. Now, when the results came out, I had done much better than the poorest chap. Back then, I didn't know about this 80-20 rule. I only studied what was important so that I could score more marks. While he revised the entire portion and remembered just this much. So, focusing on the 20% probably got me my 80% marks. Now, don't get me wrong. The 80-20 rule doesn't tell us to be lazy or to do just 20% work. Rather, it tells us to focus on the important 20% of any task which would matter the most. The 80-20 rule first came about in the quality control departments of factories, wherein they realized that the defects in the products majorly were only caused by a few repetitive problems. Now, it's not just business. The 80-20 rule also applies to our social lives. back in school, I would love to be the guy who was friends with all of his batch. Today, I look back and feel I probably wasted a lot of time trying to appease to everyone because the best of my memories come from just 5 of my closest friends. The 80-20 rule is not about taking shortcuts. Whether it's your business, your social life, or your health, find a way to figure out the most important sections in all of this. That would be the key to your success. To prove my point, I'd like to give you all a task. Have an activity log in your diary for a week. List out the most important factors in all of this. Go at it for the entire week. At the end of the week, I promise you that you would have accomplished much more than what you would expect. Let the 80-20 rule work its magic in your lives. I leave you with a thought to ponder upon. Strive for excellence in a few things rather than good performance in many.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishwesh, for that wonderful speech. We will now have a minute's silence where all members and guests may give their individual feedback to the speaker privately on the chat box. Our final speaker for the day is Toastmaster Vishwaja. Her most memorable flight experience is her very first flight, which was also her trip to Rajasthan. May I now call upon her evaluator, Toastmaster Shantanu, to read out the objectives of her speech.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. This is the second time I'm evaluating a speech in the Toastmasters Club. And coincidentally, it's Toastmaster Vishwaja again. And I can definitely say I'm really excited to see what she brings to the table. The purpose of her project is for her to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. Toastmaster Vishwaja is doing her level 3, project 3 in her path leadership development with a speech titled Me versus My Brain. All the best to you, Toastmaster Vishwaja.
Toastmaster Vishwaja, me versus my brain. Me versus my brain. Toastmaster Vishwaja.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I visible?
Yes, you're audible and visible.
Before I start, I request to all of you, if you could please switch on your videos so that I can get your reactions. About a week back, when I was planning for this meeting, the immediate thing which came to my mind was, Vishwaja, who will be speaker number 3? Then I started desperately looking for one amongst you all. And then I thought, why don't I take up the slot? I have a speech written. It will help me complete a level. And after 1 year in Toastmasters, it should be an easy job to deliver a speech within a week. Now think, have you ever taken any decision solely on the basis of the first bit of information which came to your mind? And the answer to that would be yes. And what's even more surprising is that this is just not an outcome of your stupidity, but a calculative move of your brain. Hear me out. Good evening, fellow thinkers and overthinkers. Today, I'll reveal some secrets that your brain has been hiding from all of you for a pretty long time. HEURISTIC. Heuristic. A heuristic is a mental shortcut which shortens the decision-making process. It helps you solve problems effectively and faster. Now, keeping the formal definition aside, I thought to explain it to you all better, let me ask you a few questions. Basically, there are different types of heuristics. And for each type, I will ask you one question and let you figure it out for yourself. Let's begin. Now, for the answer, you can type it in the chat box or say it to yourself aloud. Type 1. Your question is, are there more words beginning with the letter T or more words beginning with the letter K? Make it quick. Okay, I don't know the correct answer to that. But I can tell you this, that whatever your response is solely on the basis of what came to your mind first. The number of words beginning with letter T or beginning with letter K. This is availability heuristic. That is, your decision solely depends on what you've heard or seen or is there in your memory. For example, if there are more thefts near your place, you will be alert and ensure that you have a double locking system. This is availability heuristic. Let's move to the second type. Your question is, say if you have a blind date, you could either go with a librarian or a musician. Whom would you pick? You cannot select both, Sartorio. So when you don't know the personality of the person, you would rather select that date based on the profession. A librarian is very organized maybe, and a musician is very creative. But this isn't necessarily true. This type of heuristic is representativeness heuristic, wherein you take a decision on the basis of a prior prototype or bias which you have in your mind. For example, doctors, you could ask Dr. Lloyd later on, take the treatment or make a diagnostic decision based on the symptoms of the patient by comparing it to a previous prototype. Or say, I use a particular kind of brand and I love that brand. So I would make my decision, my choice, solely based on this experience, unless I want to experiment with my money. Let's move on to the third type. Type 3. For this, I'll ask you the same question, but give you two different scenarios. Say if you have a very good day, you come back home, and there are two things which you could do. Cook food for yourself or go directly to bed. What would you do? And if you change the situation and you have a negative day, that time what would you do? Cook food for yourself or go to bed? Now, unlike you like me who would go to bed in any situation, it's highly likely that the decision depends on what you feel at that moment. This is affect heuristic. wherein your decision is based on what you're feeling at that time. And finally, the last type, which is also my favorite type, and your question is, what do you think is the right age to get married? Umesh? What I feel is that whatever you answer, it is solely dependent on your belief system, whatever you've heard, learned in the past. That is your anchor. So this type of heuristic is known as anchoring, wherein your decision is based on the first bit of information that you have. For example, in my case, when I decided to become the speaker, it was because of my anchoring point, which said 2 weeks are enough to give a speech. Now, even though heuristics are good and it helps you faster your decision-making process, there could be cognitive biases because you ignore the other factors which are important in making decisions. But now that I have revealed to you some secrets, ponder about them so that you make better decisions in future. As for me, the next time it's me versus my brain, I will let my inner voice rise a little louder. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishwaja, for that wonderful speech. We will now have a minute's silence where all members and guests may give their individual feedback to the speaker privately on the chat box. With that, I can say flight ICG 202 has successfully taken off. Timer, have all the speakers qualified?
Yes, they've all qualified. All the 3 speakers have qualified.
We will now have the voting for the best speaker.
Okay, I'm launching the poll right now.
Very difficult to judge.
I'm ending the poll now. Yeah.
Recently, our flight ICG has onboarded new members. For the same, I would like to call upon our induction officer, Toastmaster Sharmila, to introduce our new members.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditi. We now have this very special little program only for our new members. And I, as the VP membership of our club, am honored to do this induction program. Membership in this club and in Toastmasters International is a privilege that carries with it many rewards. Yet, it also places certain obligations upon you. We are a group of people brought together to do things we could not accomplish alone. Our collective obligation is to grow and improve ourselves and to share our knowledge and experience with fellow members in a spirit of enjoyment. This means you must work diligently towards your own self-development, evaluate others' speeches in a spirit of support and sharing, assist the club in reaching its goals, remain positive, and keep a smile on your face. Now, I want all the 6 new members to please put on their cameras and unmute themselves. So that's Aman, Aarti, Lloyd, Padma, Nilofer, and Monica. Great. We will now ask you, our new members, to dedicate yourselves to personal growth, to share this great gift with your fellow members, and to help keep this Toastmasters Club strong and dynamic. Please face your fellow members, so you are already facing us, and affirm your membership by repeating the following words. I have given you the order, so when I say I, just take your name, all right? I. Who's the first one? Aman.
Aarti Iyer.
Aman.
Is it Lloyd next?
Yeah, Lloyd, yes.
Nilofer. I, Nilofer. Then.
Okay. And last?
I, Padmavati.
Now you will please repeat after me the whatever phrase that I say. In the presence of my fellow members.
In the presence of my fellow members.
Of the ICG Toastmasters Club.
Of the ICG Toastmasters Club.
Make this firm obligation to attend meetings regularly.
Make this firm obligation to attend meetings regularly.
And prepare fully for each assignment.
And prepare
fully for each assignment.
To apply myself to the projects outlined.
To apply myself to the project outlined.
In the Toastmasters education program.
In the Toastmasters education program.
To participate actively in club activities.
To participate actively in club activities.
To evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner.
Evaluate others in a positive and constructive manner.
To build open, friendly relationships with my fellow members.
To build open, friendly relations with my fellow members.
And to bring other members into the club.
And
to bring other new members into the club.
So that they can also gain. The benefits of Toastmasters.
Benefits of Toastmasters.
Thank you so much. Now the rest of the members, normally in a real meeting, we all stand and give this pledge, but you don't need to stand. If you could all just put your cameras on and repeat after me. Okay? We, the members of the ICG Toastmasters Club.
We, the members of the ICG Toastmaster Club.
Pledge to support you.
Pledge to support you.
In your quest for self-development.
In your quest for self-development.
To provide you with positive, helpful evaluations.
To help you with positive and helpful evaluations.
To maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere.
To maintain a friendly and supportive atmosphere.
To give you opportunities to help others.
To give you opportunities to help others.
And to make your Toastmasters membership.
And to make your Toastmaster membership
a rewarding and fulfilling experience.
A rewarding and fulfilling experience.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters. And the 6 of you, you are all now officially ICG Toastmasters. A big and warm welcome to all of you. Let's have a big round of applause for them.
Thank you.
Please unmute yourself. Let's hear it. Wonderful. Welcome to our ICG family, where we all learn together, teach together, and most importantly, have loads of fun together. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now on air and ready to begin our second part of this journey, that is the table topic section. To carry the journey forward, I'm going to hand over the aircraft to my co-pilot. In other words, our table topic master, Toastmaster Radhakrishnan. He describes himself as a passenger who loves boarding a plane and experiences the feeling as he is flying in the sky. The table topic section is a project, and I would like to call upon Evaluator Toastmaster Stuti to read out the objectives of the project.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Aditi. I think we can all agree when I say nothing gets one's adrenaline pumping than a good table topic session. It truly is a very thrilling excursion. As part of the third project, in the third level of his pathway, engaging humor, Toastmaster Radhakrishnan shall be demonstrating his skill of active listening. The purpose of this project is for him to demonstrate his ability to listen to what others say. The table topic session is an interactive one, and thus it is imperative that our table topics master makes speakers feel comfortable whilst also making them feel heard. He may do so by using short affirming statements after each speaker, indicating that he has understood them. Over to you, Toastmaster Radhakrishnan, and all the best.
Very good evening, Toastmasters of the Day, Aditi, and thank you for this beautiful introduction. And again a very good evening for Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmasters and dear guests. Years ago, one of my colleagues was doing his post-graduation in the United States. And once during her exertion, one of her male colleagues, after a brief chat, suddenly proposed her. She said to me, during that time, her mind gone blank and she felt mentally and physically uncomfortable as she did not know how to respond to such an unexpected situation. Dear audience, table topic session is the Toastmaster International helps to train members to quickly organize and express their thoughts. Indirectly, it prepares body and mind to face an unexpected situation like the one experienced by my female colleagues during her exertion in US. As a table topic master in this meeting, I take note of each speaker's speech, and if they use the word of the day exertion, you will be given a topic on which you need to speak 1 to 2 minutes, which can be extended to another 30 seconds. The speaker who speaks less than 1 minute or more than 2 minutes, 30 seconds become ineligible. It is my request you members and guests to come forward and participate in this fun as well as a challenging session, which I'm sure will benefit you immensely. Wish you all the best and good luck. Now I request the first participant to come forward and voluntarily and request the topic.
Yes, I will be the volunteer.
Also,
Mr. Radha, I will be the volunteer.
Call upon any member or guest to participate and speak in the session.
Toastmaster Radhakrishnan, I will be the first volunteer. This is Toastmaster Akshay here.
Okay.
Yes.
Toastmaster Akshay,
So can you hear me?
Your topic is that the most interesting thing you experienced during your travel. Most interesting thing you experienced during your travel. Excursion or journey or any travel. The most interesting thing once you are experienced during one of your travel. You can speak.
Rotary Club is planning a small excursion at Mumbai. When I heard this from my teacher at National Association for the Blind, I was very excited when we were told, like, those who are interested, please give their names to me. I was the first person who was very interested in this. On the 26th of June 2019 was a day when we were travel to Mumbai by Vistara flight. It was a good experience for me with my friends at National Association for the Blind, and it's one of the good excursion I would say in my life with my friends. And the most interesting thing is all my friends and myself at airport we sat on the buggy. It's just a small car. I also never sat on this, but that day was my first experience after sitting at buggy. I felt, yes, this is the most interesting thing in the traveling, and I do travel in my future by plane. What an insightful day it was on the 26th of June 2019 for me. I always remember, and I'll never forget this in my future life. Hope whenever I'll travel by plane, I'll remember this moment. What do you mean to say, Toastmaster Radhakrishnan, on this? Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshay, for bringing out your experience. And initially, you started with a very humanitarian. You want to participate a program related to the blind of Rotary Club, and also it was nice you remember and cherish that journey, and you even remember the date on 26th June to correlate that. And I'm sure that you have fulfilled that criteria, and you wish you all the best. Thank you. Next speaker.
I would like to give it a try, Mr. Radhakrishnan.
Madam Sharmila. Hello?
That's Monica. Monica, I think.
Yeah. Monica, yeah. Monica, your subject is that the most unexpected event which occurred during one of your travel.
This pandemic has brought a drastic change in everybody's lifestyle. Last year, when we went into the lockdown, it was quite depressing for me because I was not able to visit my friends, neither were my friends visiting me. But then suddenly I decided that I should be doing something different during my Sundays so that it will bring some change in my lifestyle. And I started these small excursions to discover Goa. On one of such excursions to Netravadi, which is in Sange Taluka, as we were going ahead, we saw one board which said that it was an archaeologically protected site. We thought of discovering what was there, never to know what lied ahead. We were in for a very big surprise. As we went ahead, on the bank of river Kushavati, which flows in Netravadi, there were the rock engravings which were right on the bank. And each and every engraving, each and every petroglyph that we saw there was narrating a story. It was about a civilization which existed about 20,000 years back. And the main surprise was that it was discovered just recently in 1993 when the villagers thought of cleaning the bank of the river. And there, there were hundreds of engravings on that bank of river Kushavati, a great treasure which lied ahead. I wasn't prepared to see something so spectacular in Goa, and it was so memorable, one of the most memorable excursions that I had during the pandemic time. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Mr. Radhakrishnan.
you're taking all of us to the excursion to Netravali and also to the river Kushavati. And it is nice that you remember and you experience the scenery of which is invented in 1993. Though the archaeological that incident, the civilization existed 20,000 years ago. Of course, your speech was motivated many of us, including me, and I will also, though I am here last more than 40 years in Goa, I never seen that. Definitely, I am going to make it by next month. Thank you. Well done.
Krishnan.
Yeah, next speaker. Can I call Gayatri? If no one is coming.
Call Gurmeet.
Gurmeet. Welcome, Gurmeet. Was come.
Can you ask any of the guests?
I think you can give your topic first, and then let's see the volunteers. That would help. Yeah.
I'm not able to see the full screen actually.
Can you hear us? So you can give the topic first.
I can hear. Yeah.
Yes.
The topic is the third topic. The most enjoyable dish you had in a journey. Which memory of that you wanted to cherish? The most enjoyable dish you had during your journey.
Juan was guest. Can you take up the topic?
Maybe one of the guests, Janani, perhaps?
Hi. I'm sorry, can I just get the question? I'm really sorry, I think. Sorry.
Yeah. The most enjoyable dish you had in a journey, memory of that you want to cherish. A dish.
Okay, I am not sure if this was the enjoyable dish. I am a vegetarian. So one experience that I had was the first time.
Vegetarian. Okay.
The first time I went to Thailand, that was my first international trip. So there I struggled for vegetarian food. So, but the one thing that I loved, the enjoyable dish that I loved over there, is the crepe. And as a vegetarian, I could just like gorge on it because almost everything else was, almost not accessible to me. So yeah, I don't even know where to use the word excursion. But yeah.
Describe the crepe to us, Janani.
Oh, okay. It's a nice. So if I have to say it, the easiest word I would say is it's like a dosa with a different batter. And so they have a layer of chocolate and they have either mangoes and bananas and some nice vegetables. And you can choose, there are many varieties and some nice chocolate sauce. So it's a dessert. And it's quite filling. And the ones you get in India are really expensive and not as good. So that is something I enjoyed. I think I had it almost all the days of the trip.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
She has not finished.
She's finished. She's finished.
Finished. Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster Arati, for bringing your Thailand experience and having your item like dosa, which I'm sure that many people had a mouth-watering experience after listening you, and it was very nice to get an explanation of the dish also, which is from the Thailand. I hope you will be able to enjoy more such journeys in future. Thank you very much. And the fourth person, can I call upon Nilofer?
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, please. Your subject is the most mischievous experience you face. The most mischievous experience you faced during your journey, which made you to laugh. You got the subject? During one of your journey, you faced a mischievous experience which made you to laugh.
Okay. So during your flight, as in you come across a lot of people and a lot of moments which will make you laugh, as in you will experience a lot of passenger who will be talking on different topics, or they'll be approaching the air hostess or putting their demands forward in terms of asking for more details, or asking when they can unfasten their belts, or what is the expected time of landing. So there are a lot of conversation that will go on. So may not be a very mischievous or a hilarious experience, but as I was traveling to Dehradun along with my family, and that was the flight with my daughter also. There was a couple who were traveling with their kid, and uh, I think the kid, it was the first flight for the kid also, and throughout the flight, and the child was demanding something or the other from the parents, and they somehow could not control the child, and the child started walking across the flight, and everyone, and he was stopping at each people's seat, talking to them, interacting with them. So I think he made the entire flight moment very cherishable, and but the parents definitely had a tough time managing the kid across the flight, but it made the entire atmosphere of the flight very light and enjoyable. So this is something I remember, and but me as a parent, when traveling with my daughter, definitely she was a very comforting child, and she enjoyed the flight the most, and she enjoyed the view and everything around. So I could recollect only this incident. Yeah, thank you so much for calling me out.
Yeah. Thank you, Nilofer. Said, whatever you're told is more than this. It's like a running commentary. We could experience your travel with that plane, the fastening of the seat belt, also about the child when during your travel to Dehradun, that child was creating a scene where everybody was taking in a light way. Thank you and all the best. I feel you have done a good job. So, any more time? TMOD, can I continue one more topic?
Timer, do we have more time?
We have more time. Okay.
Yes, we do have.
Okay. So the sixth person or fifth person?
Mansi.
Mansi. Yeah. Mansi, please. Mansi's come? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mansi, your experience is that the most lovable moment you are experienced with an unknown person during your travel. You may have to recollect it, but I'm sure there could be one or two.
Usually, I have been traveling by train from Pune to Goa and back. That was before marriage. I've always been traveling by train, and I've enjoyed the train travel because it's so scenically beautiful. And usually I have a habit of booking the topmost berth, so I can go there and just go off to sleep and not have to communicate with a lot of people. So sometimes I just like to have my time there, and that is the way I like to travel. And one very loving act that I can recollect right now is that the train, it got delayed, and we were supposed to arrive in Goa by around 5 o'clock in the morning, and the train just got delayed, and we ended up arriving by 12 o'clock noon. So it was morning time, and and I was just, it was morning time, and there was this one really old lady sitting in front of me, and she just asked me that, I've been seeing you since yesterday, you're just sitting upstairs and not communicating and all, but have you had your breakfast, or do you want something to eat? And that I found a very loving act, like someone, just a stranger, a very cute looking old lady just asking me that, and that really touched my heart, that we are very careful while talking to someone new, and that very it came right from the heart, and that really made me feel very nice. So that could be a very loving experience that I had.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mansi Iyer, for giving your experience during your train journey and the delay in the train you have mentioned. But though initially you thought could not recollect anything, the incident with that old lady asking you and inquiring about your welfare, have you had some food or something, that was really, you remember and you still appreciate that moment. And thank you to bring all this information to us. And I have no doubt that you have done an excellent job as a Toastmaster speaker, public tabletop speaker. All the best. Next person. Can Ivanga come?
I think this can be the last table topics.
Yeah, Ivanga or anybody can volunteer, please.
One was, I'm pronouncing your name correctly. In unmute and take topic.
Sartori, your voice is not clear.
Was that Sartorio?
Yeah, it was Sartori, I think. Like I mentioned last time. Yeah.
Maybe Marcy could take a topic.
I think Gurmeet is joining back. So we can Gurmeet.
Mansi. Yeah. Ivanga or Gayatri, please come forward. Because it's a good experience and you will gain a lot from this.
Okay, I'll take a topic. Toastmaster other question. I'll take a topic.
Yeah. So,
Ishan.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi, Ishan. This is about, welcome to this, about a moment when you forget everything else in your life and never wanted to come back from your journey. Now you are in America. For example, about a moment when you forget everything else in your life and never wanted to come back from your journey.
Never wanted to come back.
From journey, yeah, because you are enjoying that situation such an extent.
Okay, so good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. And thank you, Toastmaster Radhakrishnan, for, I won't say that's a wonderful topic. It's something which I've never experienced. But okay, here's the thing. I'm someone who loves traveling, loves to go to different places, but I always miss the place where I come from. So I never have a feeling of never going back to where I started. Even when I was working for the last 2.5 years before I moved to US, my job involved a lot of traveling. I've explored a lot of places. I've been to Bhopal, been to Kashmir, Hyderabad, and across the country. And I always felt that each of the places has something special. All right, something special which you need to experience. Right? For instance, Kashmir has beautiful mountains, amazing weather. Bhopal has amazing food. Then Mumbai has those tall skies, tall buildings which you don't see in Goa. And no, so each of the places where I visited has something to experience. But whenever you travel, at the back of my mind, at least, I always want to come back to Goa and share what I have experienced with the community which I live with. That's how I believe in enjoying the most. even today when I'm here, I mean, there's again, US also is a place where you experience a lot, but something which I always miss is the community back in India. In US, the culture which US possesses doesn't have a lot. There's no community culture here. It's more as to you get up in the morning, you work, you do your stuff, come back from office, come back from school, go to sleep, and get ready for waking up tomorrow morning. That's it. There's no you don't spend time with say 15, 20 people who you can speak to and be around with when you're free. That's not how it happens. So I wouldn't say I've ever been to a place where I just go and then forget and never want to come back to India. I've always been someone who goes to a place, explores possibilities, experiences the life there, and then comes back and shares it with the community I live with. Yeah, over to you, Toastmaster Radhakrishnan.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Ishan. Though I given a subject, you have taken me to rethink about the subject, because I now realize that, like any person, they wanted to come back that original place. And during your talk, you have given a detail about including the food of the Bhopal and your facility and the living style of the United States, and any other more details. But you also said that you enjoy that places, but you wanted to come back. This make me to rethink about when making subject which should be suitable for that. I thank you for that. And all the best, Ishan. You are a seasoned speaker, so I need not commend you on much, and you have done a good job. Thank you very much for participating. Yes. Back to TMOD, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Radhakrishnan, for a fun-filled table topic session without any turbulence.
Yeah, Toastmaster Aditi, if we could all have a picture photograph together. Yeah.
And I have a request, if you all can put the virtual background sent on the group for this picture.
I tried that, Aditi. It didn't work. I look like a ghost in a plane.
That happened with me as well, I guess.
Okay, on the count of 3, everybody. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. One more. Yeah, we are done. Thank you.
Thank you. Timer, who are the qualified speakers for the table topic section?
All the 2, 4, 6, all the 6 speakers have qualified the table topic round.
We now have the voting for the table topic session.
I'll just launch the poll.
Hope you all are enjoying the journey so far. It is said that Any landing you could walk away from was a good landing. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we start our descent. For your comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. For the landing, in other words, the general evaluation section, I will hand over the aircraft to my co-pilot and our very fine evaluator, Toastmaster Naveen. He describes himself as the passenger who hates early morning flights, but at the same time enjoys apple juices and Sprite on a long flight. Here's where I end my role as TMOD and your pilot for the day. It has been a great evening to be the captain of flight ICG 202. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Aditi. Have you noticed one thing? Today, the captain was working from home. How scary is that, right? Would you go on a flight where the captain is working from home? But today, she took us through a no turbulent flight. There was very, very less turbulence through the flight. A commendable job she did there. As a general evaluator, my job is to evaluate the whole meeting as well as to call upon the evaluators to evaluate the speakers today and also get the reports from the role players. I would like to invite the evaluators to do a tough job today because we had some wonderful speakers today. And they're going to give a beautiful evaluation. You should notice the evaluation that they're going to give. You will get new perspective of how to look at a speech. In Toastmasters, evaluation happens in CRC method. Comment, recommend, and comment. Or we say it as a sandwich method. Please listen to the evaluators as I call them one by one. The first evaluator today is Toastmaster Gajanan, who is going to evaluate Toastmaster Neeru's speech. When I asked Toastmasters Gajanan what is one thing that he looks forward when he gets into a flight or boards a flight, he said he always looks to get the window seat. That is to see maybe when he gets on from Mumbai to Goa in a flight, he can see the beautiful sights of Mumbai from his window seat. So I would like to welcome Toastmaster Gajanan to evaluate Toastmasters Neeru's speech. All the best, Gajanan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Naveen. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, and my speaker, Toastmaster Neeru. Toastmaster Neeru, you gave a speech which was well written, well constructed, and exceptionally well delivered. When you started your speech, I was very much interested to know what is your primary leadership style. And you made a very important statement that each leadership style has its pros and its cons. So you prefer to use a very flexible leadership style, which is based on situation, which is based on the people around you, and it has been very effective to you. Secondly, you started your speech, which was very emotionally connected with your personal story about your Toastmaster journey. You wanted to be a competent communicator and later on grab all the opportunities to be a great leader. Thirdly, there was a message in your speech which would ignite spark in all of us to identify our leadership style. Now, coming to the recommendation, I would say when you see the target audience, there are various kinds of audience in Toastmaster meetings. So there are pro Toastmasters, there are housewives, there are students. So you spoke on a lot of leadership styles, but there are these people who sometimes doesn't understand what are these leadership styles. So if you could have stated your speech in such a way that people understood the message behind each leadership style, then it would have been more effective. Secondly, you chose a topic which was well aligned with your content, that is identifying leader in me. But when you give a simple topic, there is a scope that you give a topic in such a way that you don't disclose the plot of the speech. So you keep the audience on a seat, inquisitive. What is this speech all about? And after 1 minute, you are disclosing the speech. I think it adds a value to your speech. Thirdly, I would say that for voice modulation, you use your pause well. You use you speak with a very nice pace, but there is always a scope to use the high pitches and low pitches. Overall, your speech was good. It has been 3 years of my Toastmaster journey, and I have seen the most best leadership part in you. You have been the most successful president that I have seen. Keep taking leadership role, keep giving speeches, and you will add new dimension to your leadership role. All the best, Toastmaster Neo.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gajanan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gajanan. I would like to call upon the second evaluator now for Toastmaster Vishwesh's speech. That is none other than Toastmaster Sharmila. When I asked her, what is the one thing she looks forward, she said, no surprise here, that she likes to fly all by herself, and that is what she looks forward to mostly. Yeah. So Toastmaster Sharmila to evaluate Toastmaster Vishwesh's speech.
Thank you. Okay, the timer is there, right? So I can see the timing. Vishwesh, can I see you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You know, to be very honest, I've never been a fan of PowerPoint presentations. I always feel that a PowerPoint presentation takes away the impact of the speaker. And the emphasis is more on the presentation rather than on the speaker. Very, very surprisingly, for the first time today, I was able to not only watch the presentation, but watch you and listen to you and get that impact that a normal speaker would have given. Kudos to you, Toastmaster Vishwesh, because you managed to do that. And I'll tell you how you did this. The first thing, in spite of having the screen going on over there, you simultaneously had a lot of voice modulation and facial expressions. I have noticed very often when the presentation is going on, the speaker forgets that he's also seen, and it is just rattling off all the information on the presentation. You did not do that, Vishwesh. You showed voice modulation. There were facial expressions on your face. Okay, so that was your extreme strong point. Second thing, your slides themselves were very not only informative, entertaining, there was subtle humor in it. You had, what was that, Grandpa Joran, okay? And then you had that picture from the Three Idiots where the chairs looked like buttocks. All right, there was the subtle sense of humor which was injected into your presentation, which is a rare thing indeed. Now, your topic in itself, this 80% output and 20% input, was very riveting. It was something I had not really thought of, especially when you said that women always feel that they don't have ever any clothes to wear. This is my typical complaint every time I have to go out, and my husband will agree to that. But yes, invariably, I use only 20% of it. Finally, your takeaway, and that is important. Every speech has to have a takeaway. Your takeaway was to have that to-do list for every week, which will tell us how to go about our lives and see that everything goes in an organized manner. If I have to give you suggestions, Toastmaster Vishwesh, one, even though it's a presentation, what I would suggest is start off with just speaking yourself on screen. And then after a few seconds, start your presentation. Now, this is something you have to do in your future, in your career. Make use of it. I'm sure it'll have more of an impact than just the presentation. And second, for this speech, I would have liked some more incidents or some more names of Toastmasters, like how you took my name, okay, while giving your speech. So it gave me a little thrill. I'm sure others would have liked that too. You could have brought in a couple more people in, and then that would have brought the thrill for them. you use these suggestions, your speech would have been far, far more better. But honestly speaking, even without it, it was a superior speech for me. Well done, Toastmaster Vishwesh. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shamla. Brilliant evaluation as usual. Moving on to the third evaluator to evaluate Toastmaster Vishwajat's speech is Toastmaster Shantanu. So when I asked Toastmaster Shantanu, what is something which he remembers as an incident that happened when he was flying? So he wrote to me saying that he always used to hate the idea of flying because he always used to get ear pains while flying. But then they used to give him toffees in the flight. So that was something which made him less pain, made his journey less painful, I would say. Now we have said, sadly, the concept of giving the candies has stopped, and so has the flight. Toastmaster Shantanu, all the best for the evaluation of Toastmaster Vishwajan.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. I think to start off, we need to have a round of applause for Toastmaster Vishwajan. I think every time I listen to a speech, I know I sit like a booming student, really excited to see what she's going to teach. It was as if it was an entirely new concept and something extremely new that I wanted to apply. Her main concept was about the topic heuristic. And I think very subtly, we've always applied this concept in our daily lives. For example, right before this meeting, whether to join 15 minutes early or 15 minutes late is another point, wherein I remember that I was an evaluator and I definitely should join 15 minutes earlier. Despite having a not so easy objective, Toastmaster Vishwaja was able to easily captivate the audience with a good sense of humor and subtlety in her speech, which got me chuckling at every question asked during the speech. She exactly knew which Toastmaster to ask what question, and that shows a good sense of awareness. Personally, having studied psychology and having found it so dry and boring, Toastmaster Vishwaja, with a booming and resonant voice, was able to grasp my attention. And I think it's safe to say that for the first time, I didn't escape from an online Toastmaster meeting. Toastmaster Vishwaja had a good sense of actions and hand movements. Throughout her speech, there was not a single moment when I found a sense of stiffness in her. If I had to include certain recommendations onto her speech, such would be those. The speech could have been taken slightly up a notch if she could have included a skit in her speech. Since the topic is me versus my brain, it would have been even more humorous if one person would have been her and the other person her brain. And well, it would have been extremely exciting to see the entire conversation. There was good humor used throughout the speech. However, the ending could have had a bit more attention to it. It could have ended with a bit more of a bang and hopefully a lasting impression on our mind. To end my evaluation, Toastmaster Vishwaja has brilliantly applied the objective given to her and has taught us something extremely new and interesting, which we will hopefully apply in the future. Over to you, Toastmaster. Over to you, Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shantanu. We have one more evaluation today of the table topics session by Toastmaster Sudhi. I would like to welcome Toastmaster Sudhi to do the evaluation. She enjoys flying and she enjoys the in-flight meals. That is quite a surprise. And she goes to sleep as soon as she has her meals in the flight. Toastmaster Sudhi to evaluate Toastmaster Radhakrishnan's table topic session. All the best.
Thank you, General Evaluator. If life was a journey, it would be an adventure laden with suspense, filled with unexpected twists and turns. Toastmaster Radhakrishnan started off his session on a rather comical note by narrating the unexpected proposal story of his colleague. This proved as an especially efficient start, for it managed to grab all our attention at the get-go. Toastmaster Radhakrishnan's choice of topics was especially interesting because they all related to the theme of today. He demonstrated impeccable eye for detail by remembering specifics such as 26 June, the date Toastmaster Akshay joined his program, or by remembering details of Toastmaster Monica's trip to Netravali. He made sure that his response affirmed the speaker's view whilst also providing his own take on the topic. He also demonstrated his very open outlook, for he was willing to change his opinions on certain topics that he had provided himself, as demonstrated in his response to Toastmaster Ishan's speech. In addition to this, he also made each speaker feel comfortable. Like when he related to one of the speakers saying he too enjoyed vegetarian food. He was always quick to explain and repeat his topics whenever they were misunderstood or whenever they weren't understood. As far as recommendations go, I have two. Firstly, I would recommend working on the clarity of his speech, for there were instances when his words did sound muffled. Secondly, I would recommend using more eye contact so that the speaker feels more heard. All in all, I must say, this table topic session was definitely one fun-filled excursion. Toastmaster Radhakrishnan demonstrated impeccably detail-oriented active listening. He was sure to praise each speaker, thus boosting their morale. So therefore, with just a little bit more vocal clarity and just a little bit more of eye contact, I'm sure Toastmaster Radhakrishnan will soar the unmatched heights. Thank you.
Thank you, TM Stuti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stuti. I am moving to my favorite session of the debutants giving their reports. All three were excellent. They gave excellent introductions in the beginning, so I'm itching to hear what they have to tell us. So I would like to call upon the grammarian, Toastmaster Aman, to give his report for the day.
Am I audible? Roses are red, violets are blue. Incorrect grammar is not cute. Good evening once again, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I, Aman Bagli, was the grammarian for today, and I'm back with my reports. Starting with which, Toastmaster Neeru used two interesting words, which was engrossed and empathy. I also liked one saying, which was, understand the leader in you. Toastmaster Vishwish had a very humorous saying in the beginning. The key to success and fail is to have a majestic beard. He also had two lovely quotes. First one was, the vital few and the trivial many. And the second one was, strive for excellence in a few things rather than good performance in many. Toastmaster Vishwaja used a very interesting word, which was heuristic. He also had a lovely saying, which was, I will let my inner voice rise a little loud. Moving on with which, the word of the day was excursion. Toastmaster Stuti used the word of the day twice. Toastmaster Arti used it. Toastmaster Aditi, Toastmaster Akshay, our guest Monica, Toastmaster Radhakrishna, and Toastmaster Arti used it. I would love to say that if any of y'all did become a pilot one day, y'all will surely lose no passengers, because there was absolutely no incorrect grammar in today's meeting. And I really had a lovely excursion today. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aman. Let us hear from the timer of the day, Toastmaster Arti.
We have almost reached our destination. Still, stay in your seats with the seatbelts fastened. In the prepared speech section, all the three speakers have qualified. TM Neeru with 6.54 minutes, TM Vishwesh with 6.45 minutes, TM Vishwaja with 7 minutes. Under the table topics section, all the 6 speakers qualified, with TM Akshay speaking for 2 minutes, TM Monica with 1.48 minutes, guest Janani with 1.18 minutes, TM Nilofer 1.58 minutes, TM Mansi with 1.47 minutes, and TM Ishan with 2.5 minutes. The finale under the evaluation section, again, all our 4 evaluators have qualified, with TM Gajanand 3.28 minutes, TM Sharmila with 3.16 minutes, TM Shantanu 2.45 minutes, and TM Stuti with 2.29 minutes. Our flight took off right on time and has faced absolutely no delay in landing. Hope the excursion has been an enriching experience filled with a lot of learning for all of us. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditi. Now let us hear from the R-Counter whether we were speaking Hindi.
Unlike
my...
Can you hear me? Yes. Unlike my usual flights where I would have a drink and probably have a snooze or enjoy it with my friends, this flight was different as I was given a responsibility. And here I am, as promised, with my report. We actually have a favorite filler word of the day. I don't know how often has that happened, but we have the word "ah." Can you believe the number of times it has been used today? 18 times to be precise. Well, we had Sartorio, Shantanu, Monica using it just once. Aarti used it twice. Nilofer liked it a little more and she used it a little more often than that. A total of 18 times. That makes our filler word the favorite filler of the day. Coming to words that could have been avoided, we just had the word like used by Akshay and Shantanu just once, which probably could have been avoided. As for repeated words, we had TM Niru using the word I very frequently in her presentation. TM Mansi used the word and a number of times as well. So otherwise, the rest of the speakers, no more R's, no more Ms, no more filler words to note down or to record. So since R is the favorite word of tonight, I think we must remember what a very famous speaker once said. Let us strive to always be awesome, and let's limit the awful. Back to you, Toastmaster, today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lloyd. Yeah. So let me get into my general evaluator's role now, giving the overview of the whole meeting in a short time, maybe in 1 minute, 2 minutes. But it is injustice to cover it up in 1 minute. I know for such a beautiful work that has gone behind the back to make this meeting such a wonderful meeting that it is. Before the meeting, you would have seen the agenda came in at least 3 or 4 days before. And we also had the VP Education sending me pointers. These are the things that we are going to do in the meeting. So accordingly, the time is given. And you have to do voting at this time. And all those things were given well in advance to me. So kudos to the VP Education for organizing the meeting first. That is the first commendation. We started bang on time. And before the meeting, yes, just before the meeting, we had 3 Bs. We had butterflies, we had banter, and we had bang. We were bang on time. So we were all 3 we covered. The Sergeant at Arms, as usual, was very strong in her opening. She introduced the president and she talked about crying while watching movie and all those things in the flight. And so she connected with the whole audience as such. The president opened the meeting. One good thing which I saw was keeping the agenda in the chat box so that people can open it, the members or the guests can open it and see how the meeting runs. And the guest introduction was done very well. The recommendations I would give a little later. The Toastmasters introduction of the theme was beautiful because we all connected with the theme very well, and we all miss flying. So we are a little nostalgic when we hear the word aircraft or flight, and the seats behind my back. It all gives us a bit of nostalgia. And she talk about, she took us into the whole meeting. She was telling about the general evaluator. The general evaluator session is like a landing and all. She had some, what do you say? Some I don't get the word, metaphors to those things. The grammarian, yes, came prepared. I like the grammarian very much today. He came with the captain's cap. And his gestures and facial expressions were superb. You look really good in the camera, man. The word of the day was printed and displayed in bold. This is something which we used to do in our physical meetings. I am very happy to see that it has come back again. And the timer, yes, timer brought in humor very well. She started with that. She wanted a 6 months vacation twice a year and all those things. So that brought some smile on her word. And one thing to notice, she used the last time's word of the day, saccharine in her introduction today. Good. And the timing was explained perfectly, as well as the timing report was given in a very nice way. With a perfect timing report was given. Our counter, TM Lloyd, like I said, he also connected with the audience, took us through the Hindi with an interactive introduction. And also he mentioned he will give the report at the end of the travel journey. That is very apt for this meeting that he has done. Prepared speeches, yes. Toastmaster Niru and Toastmaster, I will not go into that. Already evaluators have given their commendation and recommendations, and all three were brilliant today. Induction was taken in, and it was all done within time. That is something which I love. All of them were done within time. We did the induction by 8:55, so we were almost well ahead of time at that time. Table topic session, yes, we got the table topics speakers engaged. The Toastmaster Radhakrishnan could give simple topics so that people could speak without hesitation. All of them took the topic and they could complete in the given time. I should commend the Zoom master. The moment the voting was called, the poll was on the screen. I should commend the Zoom master, Tanya, for that. Recommendation, yes, this is where I'm coming. I was wondering whether we should give that 1 minute feedback session in between the speech. Is it disrupting the flow? This is my thought. We should think about it. Because in the physical meeting, yes, we had that 1 minute session so that the speakers could go back from their podium or the lectern back to the seat and the other speaker would get ready. But here, is it disrupting 1 minute? Is it too long? I'm not sure. We can discuss on that. And for the table topic master, yes, always give topics and call for table topic speakers so that people will come forward a little more faster. One more thing which I feel we are all looking really great today. So how do we know how we are looking good or not unless you switch on your videos? Now when I counted, out of 26 people, 15 were having their videos switched off. Please switch on your videos. We are seeing at least, only once in 2 weeks. So let us enjoy looking at each other, enjoy giving, the speaker will get the feedback immediately from our face. Please do that. That is something which the Sergeant at Arms should announce, not the President should ask the guest to switch on the video. I think that is a little tricky. So we can ask the Sergeant at Arms in the beginning of the meeting should request all the speakers and the role players and the members and the guests to switch on the videos. This is the General Evaluator's report, and I would like to get the flight to land now. Thank you very much. Over to you, the President.
Thanks a lot, Naveen. And I always listen to you, not only in the meeting, but always in life. I think that's my smartest thing I do. So before I carry on with the meeting, maybe have the voting for the rest of the.
Yeah, I'm launching the poll now.
It's the best evaluator, the major role player, the minor role player.
can't give all three. It's very difficult to choose
All
one.
three are there, Chandra ma'am. You have to just
No,
scroll
no,
up.
I know, but I was saying we can't we tick all three
Okay.
names.
Okay, sure. That way.
Anyway, 60% probability is the 66% probability that the word is coming home.
20 principle. We should.
I'm ending the poll now.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tanya. And wow, what a meeting. You know, the meeting where I learned about leadership and productivity. And I finally understood why I do the things I normally do. Thanks to all the speakers. A special shout out to the Toastmaster of the day, Captain Aditi. You started your journey way before this meeting. And for all the future Toastmasters of the day, this is the way. Your time starts from the previous. You are responsible for the PR, for the energy that comes in the meeting. So well done, Aditi. I would also like to mention that it's a good job by newcomers. Toastmaster Monica, Lloyd, Toastmaster Aarti. You were all involved in the meeting and so enthusiastic. It really gave me immense pleasure to see your enthusiasm. Also, shout out goes to Toastmaster Padmavati. She had just recovered from COVID and she was still feeling sick. So it was very nice of her to make it, though she has just logged off because of her health. Now, I would like to go to the guest and I would like to call upon Ivanka to introduce herself and give us feedback.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible enough. I'm sorry
Yes,
I couldn't get in earlier because of prior commitments. I'm very familiar to ICG Toastmasters. I think I've attended one session as a student at Nirmala's. I was part of the Gavels Club there under DTM Dr. Farida De Silva. And I think I've not introduced myself. My name is Ivanka Mascarenas. I'm from Donaupaul. I'm a teacher by profession. I teach French at Presentation Convent Higher Secondary in Margam. A lot of familiar faces. I see Ma'am Sharmila, Mr. Umesh, Shantanu. I just live down your street. And yeah, this is just a very impromptu thing. I wasn't really prepared. Although I was in the meeting throughout, I just got logged in and logged out off and on. But it has been a really nice experience. I like to see a lot of wit and humor being used. I laughed quite a bit also. And thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope to attend more sessions like this in the future.
Thank you, Ivanka. Ivanka finally adhered to her promise. She promised me many times she would come, but today she fulfilled it. Thank you, Ivanka, and do join in. You're already a good speaker.
Yes, of course, definitely.
Next, we have Joanne. Did I pronounce your name correct?
Yes.
Yes. Joanne, can you introduce yourself? And
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Joanne, and I'm 18 years old, and I just passed my 12th standard. And I'm very familiar with this procedure because I was a member of the YMCA Senior League Speakers Club, which was coached by Ma'am Luen, Ma'am Siona, and also Ma'am Farida. And in 2018, and a year before that, I was also a member of the Junior Toastmasters, which was coached by Ma'am Noella. And I had a really good time there. But due to this pandemic, which struck upon all of us, I couldn't be a part of it. and I was really disappointed. But Toastmaster Aman recommended me this session, and here I am today. And I had a really good time. It was very interactive session, really nice. And being here reminded me of the days back then at the Toastmasters Club which I really missed. And it was really nice, and I had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. And you're 18. That's the perfect age to be a Toastmaster. And our VP membership will be in touch with you. So you only get better if you try. Yeah. So we have only, I think I have a few announcements to make. Zoom Master. We have a person who is my favorite and who I learned from a lot. Zoom Master?
Yes, Satoru.
Yeah. He has completed his level 3. I don't know if he's still around. But I think. Yeah. Toastmaster Umesh. First of all, let's all unmute and act like a normal self. Two announcements which I would like to make is Umesh there?
Wait, I'll check.
Okay, till DTM Umesh comes, I would like to make two announcements. One is that we'll be having an orientation for the new members, and the existing members, if you want to join in, you're all welcome. That will be communicated soon through WhatsApp. We will also be having a Moments of Truth. That will be a Google form that will be sent to you soon. Yeah, that's all the announcements. And okay, I think till Umesh comes, maybe we can launch.
He's come.
I'm there.
His wife.
I'm there.
So congrats, Umesh. And
for what?
Would you like to
I didn't do anything. I really didn't do anything.
No,
okay, yeah. Okay, I thought. Okay, thanks a lot. Pardon?
Would you like to say something about?
It's nice. Complete level 3 under your presidentship. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And level 5
was a
is
wonderful meeting. Yeah. Wonderful meeting today. Excellent speeches. Thank you so much.
Zoom Master, do we have the results?
Yes, we have. I'll share my
Over
screen.
to you.
Thank you. Yeah. Am I audible, visible, and is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so the best speaker for today. Any guesses?
No guesses.
No guesses.
Not
Toastmaster Vishwaja.
Yeah. It is Toastmaster Vishwaja.
Thank you.
Next, we have the best evaluator. Again, any guesses?
No. Let's do it.
Shantanu.
Oh,
It's coming home. I said that.
it is Toastmaster Sharmila.
Thank you.
Then we have the best major role player. Very evident.
Toastmaster of the day.
The best minor role player.
Most difficult. All three were brilliant.
All brilliant.
All three were brilliant.
Any guesses?
Can't guess, Baba.
Lloyd. Timer.
I know.
Okay, it is Toastmaster Aman.
Good. All three were equally good.
Also, we have an appreciation certificate for. Oh, sorry. We have the best table topic speaker also. Any guesses over here?
Nancy.
AA.
We have Toastmaster Ishan.
Don't give him.
Yeah, it will be a lot to post it all the way here.
Oh.
And yeah, like I said, we have an appreciation certificate for someone. So we have it for Toastmaster Sharmila for playing the role of the executive officer.
Very good, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
All going home.
Okay, congrats to all the winners. And yeah, I would like to end the meeting by saying that I invite you for our next meeting. The details will be on soon. And yeah, be safe and goodbye.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Meeting.
Bye. Bye.
Super meeting.